Hello, hello, welcome. We're gonna do an intro real quick and then we're gonna be right back. Okay, day. Welcome to Jevim's research channel. Be advised that this channel is not for anyone under the age of 18. Also, the research and discoveries of this channel should not ever reflect the personal opinion or views of Jevim or her team unless publicly stated. Please understand that the opinions of the audience is also not a reflection of what or how Jevim feels. Let's bring a curious mind and open heart to these spaces for educational purposes only. Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Happy D-Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, we are holding the mic because we learned it sounds way better.
And it's a nifty prop.
It's a nifty prop. It gives magic and meaning. Okay. Hey, girl. Hey. How you doing? How you doing today? You doing all right? Hey. We thought we would get into some updates before we got into this book. I have no idea what to say about this book other than I just follow connections and thoughts and brain said look. So I just barely got it open and said yes. Yeah, it's connected too. Okay.
Cat issues.
Cat, yeah. We have one. She's been on one. Show it all the love. All the love. So what is going on with the book? Oh, today is Valentine's Day. We're supposed to go look at a place because we're moving. Finally, we are moving, and we're gonna go look at a place. Sending good juju that way.
Be an awesome Valentine's present, yo.
It would be an amazing Valentine's present. A lot of changes going on in the world at large.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like every day it's updating something new. All big changes, lots of great things and horrible things at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Right? And let's not forget what Edgar Casey said about being born during this whole generation. Gen X is like the shifters, and 2026 is the revelation year, right? At least that's what Edgar Casey said anyway. All right, so we're gonna do some sortes because we are all inspired. We are all inspired. So you hold this, and for those of you that don't know what the sortes is, it's bibliomancy, and what bibliomancy is, it's a divination tool where you pick a book and you just scramble through it, and then you stop wherever you're led, and then you read wherever your eyes land. When Jesus, son of Mary, second Eve, by the way, that's what this says, saw Satan fall like lightning down. Let me see this. From heaven, prince of the air, then rising from his grave, spoiled principalities and powers triumphant. I like that message. Do you like that message?
Yeah.
Should I read it again? When Jesus, son of Mary, second Eve, saw Satan fall like lightning down from heaven, prince of the air, then rising from his grave, spoiled principalities and powers triumphant.
Oh.
Yeah.
We just jumped
like
to
that.
12 viewers.
I like that. All right. So the book we're going to get to, I have to read from the other computer because I have to sign in. Let me have this. Okay, so we gotta borrow Lilith's cave first before we can dive in. Okay, y'all. So hold on a second while I am borrowing. Hopefully it lets me borrow. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to get right to it. I haven't read this book at all. Like I said, I follow connections and synchronicities. This is where it takes me. This is Jewish Tales of the Supernatural. Now, if you will look, it is selected and retold by the power of Howard Schwartz. Okay, here we go. I have to enlarge it too because okay, to the spirit of Gustav Dorr, we're going to look at the contents and then we're going to pick which story to really look into. Maybe Lilith's cave. Maybe we'll go right to the Lilith's cave. But while we're all figuring all this shit out and we're making all these connections and all this truth is to be told, you really need to follow your intuition, people. Follow your connections and go on these treasure hunts because as horrific as it is also magnanimous, okay? So follow your hunches and follow your nose, your intuition, and you will get led down to dark, dangerous, and exciting places. And you're going to learn about yourself as you do it, okay? All right. If you want to discover demons, take sifted ashes and sprinkle them around your bed. And in the morning, you will see something like the footprints of a cock. If you want to see them, take the afterbirth of a black she cat, the firstborn of a firstborn. Roast it in fire and grind it to powder, and then put some in your eye, and you will see them. That's in the Talmud. Now, okay, what does this sound like? Does this sound like some eye washing?
It does. It does sound like some eye washing, and I wonder if they found this for what's that movie called? Constantine. Because he that's what he did, or something similar, to go over to the other side.
Right, yeah. Yeah, he had to stick his feet in the water and he held a cat, right?
It was a black cat.
It was a black cat. Yeah, it's always a black cat. Always a black cat, y'all. Okay. This makes no sense. But anyway, so with my connections were that, okay, we're dealing with the eye washing and this immediately connected me to what Amon Hillman talks about with what is the Christ and the Christing. So let's go back and let's read some of these titles. Now, okay, the connection I heard was the interview that Oprah Winfrey did a long time ago with this girl that was a satanic ritual abuse survivor had dropped this book as a link. So I went and I looked into it. So we have the Queen of Sheba, Bride of Demons, the Homunculus of Maimonides, the Wizard's Apprentice, Helen of Troy, the Finger, the Punishment, the House of Witches, the Beast, the Rabbi and the Witch, the Door of Gehenna, the Devil's Fire, Rabbi Joseph and the Sorcerer. How's my sound? Is it okay? Um, let's see. The Haunted Violin, the Sorcerer and the Virgin, the Knife, the Charm in the Dress, the Scribe, the Bleeding Tree, the Demon in the Tree, Rabbi Samuel the Pious and the Magicians, the Dead Man's Accusation, Mocking Devils, the Demon's Wedding, the Hare in the Milk.
There's so many chapters.
There's a lot of chapters. These are stories. Okay, the Soul of Yazdar. I think I said that right. Rabbi Shabazi and the Cruel Governor, the Elusive Diamond, Lilith's Cave, the Bridegroom, the Dead Fiancé, the Kiss of Death, Summoning the Patriarchs, the Cause of the Plague, The speaking head. What is the name of a Chinese baby born prematurely? I have no idea. That's so off topic. I have no idea. Okay. Where was I? The speaking head. The Chronicle of Ephraim, Rabbi Liu, and the Angel of Death, the other side, the cellar, the werewolf, the beckoning of the brisht. I think I said that right. Brisht. Maybe the T silent. Anyway, the black hand, a combat in magic, the perfect saint, the tale of a vow, a tale of delusion, the bridegroom who vanished, the exorcism of witches from a boy's body, the demon of the waters, the underwater palace. Which one? Um, wrong timing. Wrong timing. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, thank you. Wrong timing. Do you want to go? Let's go. Do y'all want to just go straight to Lilith's Cave 128? Let's go there. Yeah. See, in order to figure out stuff, you have to be able to make connections, follow signs. There we go. There we go. How you all doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're probably.
There it is.
Yeah. Hello. Who is that? Well, there's somebody there I didn't even see. Hold on. Jimmy Winters, your comment did not come up if you're there. Sorry to say. Hello. Yeah, there's people's comments not coming up. That's interesting. Okay. Lilith's Cave. Now, one thing is very interesting is that, well, women are always at the fall. We're always the reason. It's all our fault. I'm sorry the mother wounds are really bad.
Y'all men just need to put your big boy pants on.
We're working on that. I have a Dear Jane letter for one of them that's just not making us look any better. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. There was a house in Tanis that was said to be haunted by demons. Once it had belonged to a wealthy family, but demons had invaded the house to hold a wedding. And when the wealthy owner had resisted, neither he nor his wife had ever been seen again. After that house was boarded up and no one entered it. At last, the house was sold for next to nothing to a man who planned to tear it down and build another in its place. But before he did, his wife convinced him that they should examine it and take for their own any valuables that might remain there. Though reluctant because of the rumors of demons, he finally agreed that they would go there together and search for anything of value. When the old people heard of their claims, they warned them not to go, but they refused to heed them. When they succeeded in opening the front door, the couple found the extensive furnishings inside had mold. Nothing of value had survived. But before they left, the wife insisted on opening the door to the cellar as well. Did I get the Lilith one? Okay, we are in Lilith's cave right now, according to this book, anyway. When they succeeded in opening the front door, let's see, where was I? Sorry. All right, the cellar as well. And at last, the husband kicked the door in, despite the fact that the demons were rumored to have made their home there. Much to their surprise, they found the cellar furnishings in perfect condition. None seemed to have aged at all. They were worthy of a place in a palace, and especially valuable was a mirror, ooh, with an ornate gold frame, which in itself was worth far more than they had paid for the house. Wow, so we're talking some heavy magic here. Yeah. The wife brought the mirror and all of the fine furnishings in the cellar to her own home and proudly displayed it. She hung the mirror in the room of their daughter, who was a dark-haired, was that conquet. The girl glanced at herself in the mirror all the time, and in this way she was drawn into Lilith's web. Uh-oh, more mirror magic. Mm-hmm. We're talking, yeah, like Alice and the Looking Glass and mm-hmm. For that mirror had hung in the den of demons, and a daughter of Lilith had made her home there. Wow. And when the mirror was taken from the haunted house, the demoness came with it. For every mirror is a gateway to the other world and leads directly to Lilith's cave. This is the cave. Talking about mirror magic. Lilith went to when she abandoned Adam and the Garden of Eden for all time, the cave where she sported with her demon lovers. For these unions, multitudes of demons were born, whose flocked from that cave, and infiltrated the world. And when they want to return, they simply enter the nearest mirror. That is why it is said that Lilith makes her home in every mirror. Now, was it? That's reflective magic. That's looking at yourself, but that can go into like the tale of narcissists too, like narcissism.
It's like they're pinning Lilith as the first narcissist.
Yeah, maybe Lilith was because she refused to let Adam dominate her. Who knows? Yeah. 9 months after the wife brought those furnishings into the house, that's interesting, right? 9 months. She was found dead one morning, having choked on a feather she breathed in from one of the silken pillows she had taken from the cellar. Why would you take a pillow from a cellar? That's just anyway. Yeah, yeah. After her death, her husband sold all of the furniture and gave the proceeds to charity. He only wanted to get rid of it. All he kept was the gold frame mirror, for his daughter refused to part with it. In the days that followed, things went from bad to worse. During the day, the girl avoided her household duties, nor did she give her widowed father any assistance. Instead, she spent her time before the mirror admiring herself.
Major narcissist.
What does that remind you of? Internet addiction.
Oh yeah, that's something that you cannot get away from. It's the
You
black.
can get away from it. It's really hard.
Oh yeah, it's similar to the Black Mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is new. Wow. Okay, in the days that followed, okay, where was I? Now the daughter of Lilith, who made her home in that mirror, watched every movement of the girl who's poised before it. She bided her time, and one day she slipped out of the mirror and took possession of the girl, entering through her eyes. In this way, she took control of her, stirring her desire at will. So it happened that the youngest girl, driven by the evil wishes of Lilith's daughter, ran around with young men who lived in the same neighborhood. Oh no, God forbid her do anything that was natural to her own body. This is going back to Freud stuff.
Dr. Evil.
Yeah, Freud stuff that, women were just born this way.
Yeah, that they need the lobotomies.
That is so crazy. She started coming home later and later, and a time came when she sometimes did not come at home at night at all. Her father suffered greatly over this, filled with shame, for he knew that once her reputation had been ruined, no worthy young man would marry her.
Man,
But whatever happens to dudes' reputations, like,
they increase with that kind of interaction.
yeah, they get more
Like
sociable acceptability.
it's so ass backwards. Like
Right.
it's your body. Why is your reputation getting better or worse for that?
Right. And in this, he was right, for the daughter of Lilith was possessed the girl. Never let her come close enough to any one young man to feel love for him. You see that? That's like narcissism.
Oh
That's like um painful childhood trauma too.
yeah. What if this book is of different forms of narcissism?
I don't know. Though this is the first tale we've read, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, but it seems like it's gonna be interesting. I mean, the writing of the author seems like it's keeping our attention.
Mhm. Yeah, there's some weird shit going on. For if this had happened, the power of the demons over the girl would have been broken. Instead, she drove her own, commanding her roving eye to seek out yet another. So she commanded her demons instead of opening them and freeing them, basically. Holding on to trauma. But yeah, okay. Once, when she had not returned home for 2 nights and her bed had not been slept in all that time, her father was possessed by a great fury and uttered a curse against her. The curse was so severe that even he was surprised to hear it spoken. May the Lord return my unworthy daughter into a bat, flitting around from place to place, from one man to the next, without ever becoming attached to anyone. That's horrible. Because she has chosen to abandon herself to the night, may she be doomed to live in the fuck shit darkness, and may she be fated to bear this curse as long as the shame lives in my heart. Horrible. Okay. This is an old oral tradition. At that moment, the young woman in the arms of a young man suddenly screamed and vanished from the room. And all that he saw in that instant was a bat that flew out of the window, uttering a terrible cry. Tunisia. Tunisia oral tradition. That's some craziness, y'all.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror and coming undone. Wow. That's just wild. Let's go look because that sounds so much. Mm, let me see if there's going to be more women accused. Well, we have the Queen of Sheba. You want to start at the Queen of Sheba? We could have started, but yeah. This right here just blows me away. Research and editing. So there was Yeah, it looks like there was a great many people
Yeah.
involved in collecting these stories. That's what it looks like. Introduction. You want me to read the introduction? One day, a boy playing hide and seek sees a finger in the hollow trunk of a tree. Assuming he has found his friend, he puts a ring on the finger and pronounces the marriage vows. Oh, gosh. All in jest, but subsequently finds himself wed to a demoness. Hey, this is the Corpse Bride. Disney's This is like Tim Burton.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, this is what it sounds like. Corpse Bride. She in turn kills each of his human wives. How many did he have?
They what?
How many? Okay.
Boy has wives.
Uh, until one of them finds a way to appease her, sharing her husband with the demoness for 1 hour every day. Oh my goodness. Okay. This nightmare marriage is recounted in the 16th century Yiddish folk tale, The Demon in the Tree. Wow, that's the Corpse Bride story right there. Like most Jewish tales of a supernatural, it addresses one of the most critical turning points in a person's life, times of stress such as birth, marriage, and death, inevitably becoming the focus of rituals, superstitions, and folklore, and the Jewish tradition is no exception. Indeed, the vast majority of legends and folk tales that draw upon the supernatural take place at one of these turning points or on such critical occasion as Bar Mitzvah, Yom Kippur, and other days of observance, including the Sabbath. Okay, it was the supernatural that provided an explanation for all kinds of events, especially misfortunes. What the hell was the misfortune with the daughter? She wouldn't have anything to do with the father. The mother wouldn't either. The mother fell in love with her own reflection and quit paying attention to people.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's I'm trying to read into it, like, because just having experiencing, narcissism on a high degree with family.
Yeah. It's a storybook of narcissistic.
Yeah. Surrounded by a myriad of dangers opposed by both human and demonic enemies, the Jews turned to faith and superstition for an understanding of the world. Thus, a stillbirth could be represented as a destructive powers of the demoness Lilith. Well, that makes sense. Or as sudden death as the punishment of vengeful spirits. These explanations, in turn, eventually become the embodied as tales that were often retold in both the written and oral traditions. These include tales about the wandering spirits' marriage with demons, possession by dybbuks. Is that dybbuks? Who knows? Ghastly visitations, vampires, werewolves. Vampires and werewolves been coming up a lot
They have.
with three-letter agencies and occult circles.
Like, what is going on with these furry fanged beings?
Yeah, they're code words. They're all different. Wash, rinse,
Do we need
rename, repeat.
Do we need a bathe ourselves with some garlic and wolfsbane?
I eat a lot of garlic. I think I'm good.
Same.
They don't want me. Garlic is good. Okay. Speaking heads, corpses brought to life with the power of the name of God. That's resurrection. Laying up. Well, that right. Well, that ties into the zombie Jesus and all that stuff.
Zombie Jesus.
Yeah. Hillman's got the zombie Jesus stuff going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Damn.
right. Okay. And every kind of supernatural adversary. These fantasies and nightmares were danger in often is often overcome in the supernatural fashion, helped the oppressed Jews to find an outlet for their fears. For it is well known that hearing and reading, even the most frightening tales, can bring about a catharsis and release from fear. So they believe in, you know, fearing you into being okay, normalizing fear, to fear you out of yourself, scaring you out. Right.
That sounds familiar.
Right. Well, this also, well, I'm not going down that trail. Okay. These folk explanations no longer have a primary place in our vision of the world, of course, but they still invoke and explore a dark side of the human psyche that is as evident today as it was in the time of our ancestors. Oh my goodness. The role of the supernatural in Jewish life and lore is one of fascinating contradictions. Is one of fascinating contradictions. On one hand, there is a clear biblical injunction against supernatural practices. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or daughter to pass through the fire, one that useth divination, a soothsayer, or an enchanter, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or one that consulteth a ghost, or a familiar spirit, or a necromancer. For whosoever doeth these things is an abomination unto the Lord. That's Deuteronomy 18:10-12. Don't you dare rely on yourself or your neighbor. Don't you do it. Don't do it. Don't. Okay. On the other hand, even in the biblical account of King Saul and the witch of Endor, where have you heard that before?
Holdor.
Moldor.
That.
That's very close to Moldor.
Yeah.
Isn't that very close? Okay. That's 1 Samuel 28. This injunction is ignored as Saul has the witch invoke the spirit of the prophet Samuel. See, it is diabolically hypocritical. Likewise, sorcery is reported to on a great many occasions in the rabbinic literature. Sorcery not only by wizards and witches, but even by some of the most respected rabbis. On one occasion, Rabbi Joshua ben Hananiah performs a magical invocation. He scatters flax seeds on a table, waters them so that they instantly took root and grow. Then reaches into them to pull out the head of a witch who has cast a damaging spell. Hold up. What? In another tale from the Talmud, Rabbi Janaiah diverts a witch who attempts to turn him into an ass and transforms her into this beast instead. Hold on, we got cliff notes. Where is the cliff notes? They must be at the end of the book. Okay. What the heck you do? These and many other examples clearly reveal the rabbinic ambivalence about the injunction against sorcery and lead to hair splitting attempts to define what kind of sorcery is acceptable and what kind forbidden. Oh, you know what it is? Dudes can do the sorcery, women cannot. They get burned at the stake. That's what's going down. That's what it sounds like. Okay. The conclusion the rabbis reach distinguishes between sorcerers who work through demons and those who work by pure enchantment. Those, according to the Talmudic sage Abai, if one actually performs magic, he is stoned. You gotta smoke it, man. You gotta smoke it before you can do the enchantment. That's telling you right there. You gotta be stoned. You're stoned.
times I've been told, don't do that before you do this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah. Don't do it.
I do what I want.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Sorry, y'all.
If he merely creates an illusion, he is exempt. Although this distinction itself may seem to be an illusion in many cases, it accurately defines the difference between the sorcery of the rabbis and that performed by those who invoke the forces of darkness.
Dun dun dun.
The dark was seen as the caves, the women, the night, right? Connected to the moon because of the cycles for whatever reason. The cycles. A sociology. Association, a sociology. That needs to become a term. If it's not, I just made it a term. A sociology. Yeah. In practice as well, the difference between sacred magic and sorcery was apparent, although the black magic of the wizards is destructive in intent. That of the rabbis is protective, drawing magic circles that guard against any evil onslaught. Using the power of the tetragrammaton, the infallible name of God, to bring the dead to life, and exorcising dybbuks, spirits of the dead who take possession of the living. But on occasion, when sufficiently provoked, the wrath of the rabbis is terrible to behold. Well, of course it is, because they're human. They're human. Humans are both.
Good and wholesome.
Because nature is both. We are of nature. Huh?
A dualistic nature.
We are. We are. Which wolf do we feed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but on occasion, let's see. In his anger at women who have kidnapped and mutilated the body of a Jew, Rabbi Hayim Vidal turns them into black dogs in the house of the witches. That makes sense. Rabbi Shalom Shabazi causes 3 stories of the building to sink into the ground at his command in Rabbi Shabazi and the cruel governor. Yeah, they're attributing supernatural powers.
These men.
Yeah.
These.
And in the cause of the plague, Rabbi Judah Lowe discovers Judah Lowe. We know of a Jude Lowe, don't we? It's an actor. Yeah. Judah Lowe discovers that an evil sorcerer is responsible for a plague among the Jews and turns the sorcerer's own destructive spell against him, causing him to burst into flame. You know what that is? That's a combustible concoction.
In other ways, it could be seen as mirror magic as well.
Yeah, we've been dumbed down so much that we think that a Molotov cocktail is of the gods.
Well, before it was widely known what that was. What else would you
right?
Consider it?
That's what I'm saying. In ancient times, they've used all these things that they knew, right? Where the more experienced held power and sway over the less experienced.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Nazaya, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, yo.
We're exploring some Jewish folktales, and it's an adventure. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I wanted to give some love and some little tidbits of some interesting tales that tie into everything going on into the world. Yeah. Such great power holds the danger of being abused. And this theme is found in several striking tales, especially that of Rabbi Joseph della Reina, who first tries to force the coming of the Messiah by capturing Asmodeus, king of demons, and his queen, Lilith, in the Helen of Troy.
The Helen of Troy.
See,
Another female.
everybody keeps trying to force in the coming of God and Jesus. They don't. I mean, this ties into Frankism.
Oh yeah. All about the Jeebus.
It ties into Frankism. Guilty by or redemption through sin. That's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm working on my degree in sociology, associating things together.
Yeah.
I've created a new term. Thank you, darling. It's called sociology. Hey, look, if other people are creating new words all the time, I can do whatever I want. I've done figured that out.
Oh yeah, you gotta say, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Yes.
Because having the ability to do something that you want to do instead of doing what others want you to do is just so much more gratifying and makes things a lot more achievable.
All right. Joseph della Reina succeeded in capturing them, but falls prey to their deception, is defeated, and afterward becomes a mad wizard, tutored by Lilith in the ways of black magic. Another tale. See, we are absolutely. This whole book is about woman's damnation. This whole book.
I mean, it's
And they want us to believe that because they honor Shekinah, that it's not as patriarchal as it really is.
oh, it's extremely. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen quite a few very misogynistic Jewish men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's there. It's everywhere. Okay.
Everywhere.
The homunculus of Memonides, I think I said that right, betrayed the great philosopher and theologian as a sorcerer intent on creating an immortal being of unlimited powers. What's that sound like?
Unlimited powers.
Unlimited powers. It sounds like the robots that we have.
The AI shit.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. This has all the earmarks of a folk expression of the attitudes towards Memnondes. I'm going to call him Memnondes. Found in the ante-Memdian controversy, in which the opponents of Memnondes portrayed him in the most negative terms. Both tales contain implicit warnings against messianic aspirations, and both emerge from periods dominated by such longings, with attendant false messiahs, especially sabotage Zevi. There's sabotage Zevi, the redemption through Zen dude.
They just called him a false messiah.
Yeah, right. It's right because they tell you without telling you. They tell you in all the fiction.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all, if you want to know where it's at, it's in the fiction. It's in the folk tales. Yeah.
Just tell them what's going on slightly.
Okay, in the 17th century, 1666. You know when he died, he had over 1 million followers. When he died, he had over 1 million followers. Okay. But most tales show a great reluctance on the part of the rabbis to invoke these supernatural powers, and it is only impending disaster that forces them to do so. Only dire straits. Only dire straits. The young Baal Shem Tov is forced to confront a werewolf to protect young children in the werewolf, and other rabbis are brought into magical combat with various demons to save a kidnapped bride to be, for example, as in Bride of Demons, or to compel demons who have taken possession of a house to appear before the rabbinic court, as in the cellar. Thus, these tales, which flourished in the Middle Ages, are an outgrowth in every aspect of the biblical, rabbinic, and folk traditions that preceded them. Jewish tales with supernatural themes are derived from such biblical motifs as the speaking serpent in Eden or Saul and the witch of Endor, and from virtually every phase of post biblical Jewish literature, sacred and secular, written and oral. The written sources for these tales include the Apocrypha, the pseudo. I don't know what that is. What is it? Pseudo Pragpara. I think it's Pragpara, the Talmud, the Midrash, medieval Jewish folklore, and Hasidic text. Some variants and additional tales can be found among those collected orally from various Jewish ethnic sources, including the published in this century in Yiddish by Y.L. Cohen and Emmanuel. What the heck? Langser archives, as well as the tales collected primarily in Hebrew by the Israel Folk Tale Archive, nor does the tradition end there. For these same legends have been selected by some of the most important modern Jewish authors, such as I.L. Peretz, S.Y. Agnon, Isaac Bashevi Singer, Bernard Malamud, and Cynthia Ozick, who have used traditional tales as a basis of short stories, novels, dramas, and poetry. Who is here? Hello. Hello, Chief and Toast. We are reading about Jewish folk tales. As might be expected, the imprint of the biblical sources can be recognized in many of these supernatural tales. For example, the binding of Isaac by Abraham at Mount Moriah is echoed in the Devil's Fire, where a rabbi struggles to persuade the people in a Persian city that the practice of human sacrifice is wrong.
Huh?
Maybe we need to go read that one. We need to read the whole thing, really.
Yeah, we should make this like a thing that we do occasionally.
Yeah, we could like go through it and get to it. Yeah.
There's some interesting tales in what we've read so far.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the things that coincide with kind of what's going on with a lot of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm. While we're in the age of awakening and revealing.
The autonomy of the AI shit.
Yeah. I don't know what you were getting at there, but I'm going to try. Once you make sense of it, you can tell us what you were talking about. Okay. Yeah, that one, The Devil's Fire, looks really good. The rabbi witnesses the abhorrent practice himself and later learns that the reason the people are so willing to leap into the flames is because they believe they will soon return. Okay, so it's reincarnation. This appears to be true, but when the rabbi investigates, he discovers that the devil has disguised himself as the one who comes back, perpetuating the illusion that the fire is harmless. With great difficulty, the rabbi finally manages to enlighten the people. That sounds like you get reincarnated if you commit like if you unalive yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
So are they trying to coerce people into doing that, or are they trying to say that reincarnation is real?
I don't know. We have to read the story first.
Yeah.
And then it's folk tales.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mythos, just like we have the Greek and Roman mythos.
Yeah.
And, there's mythos everywhere.
I wonder how similar they are to the Greek in this one.
Well, I don't know, but you have to keep in mind what that essay survivor said. A lot of what she experienced is a lot like in the book.
Yeah.
This book in particular. So that's really, why I wanted to dig into it, because of what's in this book. Where was I? So yeah, it sounds like a reincarnation and unaliving. This appears to be true. Let's see. He enlightens his people. He's got to keep them from throwing themselves in. It is generally recognized that one primary purpose of the story of the binding of Isaac was to announce in clear terms that all human sacrifice for Jews had come to an end and was to be replaced by animal sacrifice. And animal sacrifice came to an end after the destruction of the temple. The rabbi in this tale then can be seen as attempting to blot out the practice of human sacrifice among pagans. At one time, the story is cast in the form of a tale of terror. Well, of course it is. Of course it is, because, they're separatists. They're like God's chosen people. Right. They're the biblical chosen people. Another biblical theme, that of Joseph cast into a pit. Now, Joseph was the one with the coat of many colors, right? He was the one that had he had prophecy. He was the truth speaker. Prophets are all truth speakers.
They have to be able to speak to the people to get them to really understand.
Yeah, well, blue light toxicity says that truth is not understood as truth. Okay. Another biblical theme is about Joseph cast into a pit is echoed in the tale The Chronicle of Ephraim, where an evil wizard causes a Jewish family to be cast into a pit to die. The mother gives birth there, and then the wizard learns this. He offers to free them in exchange for the child, and with no other choice, the family relinquishes their son to him. Oh, we're talking about families in pits and birthing babies down there as a Jewish folk tale. Okay. He raises the boy as his own, attempting to hide the boy's Jewish heritage from him. Right, because you're not Jewish unless it comes from your mother. Right? Is that what they say? Okay. Okay. This theme is also echoed in the Midrash literature in the tale of Moses being cast in a pit where he survives for 10 years, secretly assisted by Zipporah, whom he eventually marries. There's a cliff note for that one. Never heard of Zipporah. Have you ever heard of Zipporah?
No, I have not.
I was raised sort of kind of in the church to read the Bible, and I always heard of Moses. I never heard of Zipporah. Has anybody watching ever heard of Zipporah? That's what I would like to know.
Yeah, from a young age, I kind of went against the church.
Yeah, me too.
So, but even so, I've never heard that name in any of the things that we've watched, listened to, read. That name's never come up that I can remember.
Right. No. I would remember a Z name. Z names are often tied to Zoroastrianism. So, Zoe. Okay.
So.
Let's see. In each of these cases, the one cast into the pit has an extraordinary nature. Joseph, most beloved of his father and mother, Moses, the Redeemer, and the boy Ephraim, who is born casting an aura of light, as was said of Noah, casting an aura of light. That would have to have been like super blonde, because what I've learned about the blondes, the ones that have that
Platinum.
like the shiny in the sun, they look like they're wearing a halo. Because like the light cast around their heads, it looks like a freaking halo.
Yeah, it's the
A light,
iridescence.
yeah, the light, yeah, reflects. I mean, that could be completely unrelated, though. I mean, who knows? But we'll see. Thus does the biblical episode of Joseph in the pit become an archetype for a stage in the experience of those destined for greatness. The dark pit symbolizing danger in which they miraculously survive. Wow. Well, you are a gift into the world. Let's throw you into the pit. And if you manage to survive, then, well, you're just better for it.
Oh yeah, that's kind of like how they did with the witch trials almost.
Yeah, dimming the light, dimming the light, dimming the light. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. I didn't finish it. Okay. In some cases, it's impossible to trace the evolution of a single legend from the biblical inception to its recounting of the Talmud, and from there to the version found in the Midrash, and then retold in the Middle Ages in the medieval folklore, and echoed as well in some Hesiadic tales. The Jewish literary tradition is unique in this, for in no other culture is it possible to trace the evolution of legends in written form throughout the ages. Well, I wonder why.
Hmm.
Ask yourself why.
Because everybody just adds their own.
They weren't allowed to. They're the only ones that have been able to hold on to this. Any type of tradition, any oral tradition.
Yeah, like
Why is that?
because they are amongst. I feel the darker side of evolution.
Mhm. Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, this is a dark evolution. Among the legends with biblical origins and rabbinic and folklore elaborations, none of the greater influence than that of Lilith. Yeah, because she's the reason for the fall. They're going to blame a woman.
Oh yeah.
It is not an exaggeration to say that much of the demonic realm in Jewish folklore grew out of the multifaceted legend, which came into being as a commentary on one passage of the Bible, male and female, he created them. Genesis 1:27. This passage was interpreted by the rabbis to mean that the creation of man and woman was simultaneous, whereas the later accounts of the creation of Adam and Eve appear to be sequential, working on the assumption that every word of the Bible was literally true. The rabbis interpreted this contradiction to mean that the first passage referred to the creation of Adam's first wife, whom they named Lilith, on the other referred to the creation of Eve. So there's your division of your light and dark woman, the whore and holy one. This initiates a long legend of Lilith, whose name actually appears in the Bible only once in a passage from Isaiah. Ye Lilith shall repose there. Isaiah 34:14, referring probably to a Babylonian night demon of the post-biblical text. A few references to Lilith are found in the Talmud, where she is described as a demoness with long black hair. And a demoness with identical characteristics is found in the apocryphal text, the Testament of Solomon. But the earliest version of the legend that portrays all of the essential aspects of Lilith is in the alphabet of Ben Sira of Persia or Arabic origin in the 11th century. The legend tells how God created a companion for Adam and named her Lilith, but Lilith and Adam bickered endlessly over matters large and small, with Lilith refusing to let Adam dominate her in any way. Oh gosh.
Oh, jeepers.
She thought she was of equal merit.
I mean, I wonder if at that time, if man would have been, I don't know, not so stuck up his own ass and actually understand and give what is needed, how different the world would be.
This is all propaganda.
I know.
Just pure propaganda. Mm-hmm. Instead, she insisted that they were equal. Eventually, Lilith pronounced the infallible name of God and flew out of the Garden of Eden to the shore of the Red Sea. There, she made her home in a cave, taking for lovers all the demons who lived there and giving birth to a great multitude. This explains the proliferation of demons in the world. Oh, no. Oh no.
Oh no.
How dare her have sex with the others
God forbid she do something for herself.
and become the mother of the others? She's the one that got away. She got away.
She got away.
Your phone's going off. And we are going to be right back, you guys. EDM has to leave us, y'all. Can I give you this? Yeah, he's gonna leave us. He's got to go do something. It's all right. It's all right. You got me. I'm here. Okay. Adam complained to God, who sent 3 angels, Sinoi, San Sinoi, and oh my God, Semangigaglo, whatever that word is right there, y'all. Right here. See this one here? Yeah. I'm not going to try to butcher that. Okay. 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 To command her to return to Adam, but Lilith refused, not even the angels threatening to kill 100 of her demon offspring a day moved her. Instead, she proclaimed that she had been created to snatch the souls of infants, and she vowed that only if confronted with an amulet bearing the names of the 3 angels would she do no harm. Wow. So widely known was the legend that such amulets become familiar feature to Jewish life and are used even today in some Orthodox Jewish circles. Hey Lee, good to see you. Good to see you, Lee. Much love. We're learning about Lilith. You know, the reason women are cursed forevermore. Since Lilith's flight from Eden, she has sought her revenge by slipping beneath the sheets of men who sleep alone and trying to seduce them. I don't think men need any help being I don't really think you have to seduce men. I don't. I think possibly some. Definitely when they're young and don't know what's doing, but yeah. So too does she attempt to strangle these infants in their cradles, but if she finds the amulet with the names of the three angels on it, along with the words "Out Lilith," she turns away and does not approach the child. Here's the thing: is virtue signaling for one, and it's very cultish activity that you have to wear a mark. It's wearing a mark of some sort. It's cursing women. It's keeping women cursed and down. Okay. Once a character was brought into being, the rabbi sought to discern or, in many cases, invent his or her entire history. Listen, that's funny. So it is with Lilith, who is to Eve as a siren is to a mermaid, the negative side, from one rabbinic perspective of woman. Lilith is assertive, seductive, and ultimately destructive. Eve is passive, faithful, and supportive. Yeah. See, that's the thing, y'all, is and that's why I think there's the black and white checkerboard in the Masonic lodges, is they realize that there's it's not just good and evil and women and Lilith. It's everybody. That's our human nature. It's our human nature. We just have to know ourselves so we know what lines we will cross and what lines we will not cross. Thus, where the opposite poles depicted in the rabbinic sources and this negative characterization of Lilith served as the basis of the substantial body of demonic tales in medieval Jewish folklore and later Hesiadic sources. These tales are not as restrained by the specific intentions of rabbinic commentary and consequently have more imaginative freedom. This process of embellishment has a pronounced tendency to bring together as many previous themes and motives as possible, yet at the same time, the new tale takes on a new life of its own. It's myth spinning and myth making. That's what we do as humans, right? In this fashion, the archetype of Lilith become imprinted on Jewish folklore, and she reappears with 1,000 names, among them Obizuth, Agarat, Bat, Mahaleth, and the Queen of Sheba. In early archetypal Talmudic and Midrashic sources, as well as medieval folklore and the later Hesiadic tales. So too does Lilith play an important role in Kabbalistic texts. Yeah, in the Qippoth. She's in the Qippoth. She's like the ruler of the Qippoth with Samael, right? Okay. One that is essentially mythic in nature, the Talmudic and Midrash text, of course, had the seal of rabbinic authority, while the Midrashic text, of course, while the apocryphal text did not. Okay, So the apocryphal text does not have the seal of the rabbis, but the Midrash and Talmud do. Nevertheless, the latter had a strong influence on the development of Jewish lore. Listen, it had a major influence on the development of Jewish consciousness. It absolutely did. It absolutely did. On the archetypal or apocryphal text, there are two: the Book of Talbot in the Apocrypha, and the Testament of Solomon in the Pseudepigraphia. Pseudepigraphia. I think I said that right. That is greatly influenced and subsequent direction of demonology in Jewish folklore. The Book of Tobit, I said Talbot, I meant Tobit, sorry, dating from around 2 CE, recounts the tale of Sarah, whose husbands all mysteriously die on their wedding night. Now, that is interesting. Finally, Tobias is able to expel the evil demon Asmodeus, whom, it turns out, had killed each and every husband. This key legend prefigures both the subsequent career of Asmodeus as the king of demons and the pattern of a multitude of dybbuk tales in which the evil spirit must be exorcised. The Testament of Solomon surviving in a Greek text, interesting, which is estimated to have been written between the 1st century and the 4th century, has the earliest version of what became the Lilith legend. It also serves as the earliest compendium of demons who appear to King Solomon in succession at his invocation, and is the earliest text to cast King Solomon in the role of sorcerer, which become the primary model for him in subsequent Jewish lore. Among the demons compelled to appear is one who has all the witch-like characteristics of Lilith. After using his magic powers to invoke the demons, King Solomon commands them to identify themselves. Among them is Obizuth, who describes herself in terms virtually identical to those later associated with Lilith. At night I sleep not, but go my rounds over all the world and visit women in childbirth. Divining the hour, I take my stand, and if I am lucky, I strangle the child. I am fierce. I am a fierce spirit of myriad names and many shapes. Very interesting. Solomon demands to know by which angel she can be defeated, as every demon has an opposing angel that is its nemesis. And Osbaluth replies, by the angel of God called Apharoel, also known as Raphael. If any man knows his name and writes it on an amulet for a woman in childbirth, then I shall not be able to enter her. This is the earliest textual reference to the amuletic tradition of warding off the demoness, which became so central a part of the Lilith legend. Solomon's description of the demoness is also of interest. When I, Solomon, heard this, I marveled at her appearance, for I beheld all her body to be in darkness. But her glance was altogether bright and cheery, and her hair was tossed wildly like a dragon's, and the whole of her limbs was invisible, and her voice was very clear as it came to me. This description links Osbaluth even closer to Lilith because the name Lilith has long been associated with Lilah, the Hebrew word for night, and Lilith's hair is said to be black. The fact that her body is invisible indicates the ability to transform herself into whatever shape she wishes, and she states as much herself. All of this indicates that the legend of the Lilith figure was a very old one indeed, coming back to at least first century and probably earlier than that. Here's the thing though, if you want to get real, if her hair was black, then maybe her skin was too, making her much harder to see at night. Anybody ever think about that? Anyway, sometime during the early Middle Ages, the legend of Lilith, the dominant female demon, merged with the legend of Osmodeus, the king of demons, and she became identified as his queen. Osmodeus was already a famous folk character because of the striking legends about him in the Talmud. One recounts his capture by King Solomon during the time the temple was being built, and another describes how Osmodeus, overpowered Solomon and threw him a great distance, turning him into a beggar king. Interesting. And usurped his throne. In retrospect, the merging of the legends of Lilith and Osmodeus was inevitable, giving preeminence. Well, we see a lot of legends have merged together, haven't we? We've That's kind of what happens, especially with oral traditions and the merging of tales and heroes and journeys. That happens a lot. The folk process invariably embellishes folk tales that capture the folk imagination. Thus, the fecunded legend of Lilith, which grew out of a single line in Genesis, okay, gave birth to a myriad of legends postulating the existence of another world, by some accounts existing side by side in this one, as close as the other side of a mirror. Well, we do know we are multi-layered, aren't we, in this world? By others in its own place, the yen vet, the Yiddish for the other world. In either case, the demons were believed to reproduce and proliferate endlessly, creating difficulties at every turn, causing wine to turn into vinegar, fire to go out, man to be impotent, woman to be unable to give birth. And of course, it was Lilith who was blamed every time an infant's life was lost. Thus, the presence of Lilith and her cohorts was very real, and she survived as a symbol of all that was enticing and destructive. Thus, there are two primarily aspects of the Lilith legend. As the incarnation, of lust, Lilith leads unsuspected men into sin. In her incarnation as a child destroying witch, she strangles helpless infants. It is interesting to note that these two aspects of this legend seem to have evolved separately, in that there is hardly a tale to be found in which Lilith plays both roles. See, the female, but the attachment of the witch like role to the legend of Lilith broadens the Lilith archetype to include that most destructive kind of witchcraft as well. And such tales about witches are commonly found in Jewish folklore as they are in the folklore of all peoples. It goes back to the mother wound, I believe. Okay, I want to get to a story. I want to get to a story. See, we got many more introductions to go through. Maybe we can go back to there's our cliff notes. Maybe we can go back to read more of the instruction. Uh but there's a naked woman in that one, so I probably won't be able to read that one in the picture. I could put that this was entertainment and educational purposes only banner. Where's my banner? There we go. This is artwork. I'm going to read a story. Hopefully, I don't get canceled. Okay. Maybe I'll just enlarge it and we won't see that side. There we go. How's that? Okay. All right. In the city of worms, gosh, there's so much that goes back to the worms of Germany, right? Okay. There was an innkeeper who was very poor. His inn, known as the Devil's Head, was on the outskirts of town. Who's that sound like? Somebody in Illuminati, maybe? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Few travelers stayed there, and those who did could barely pay for lodging. Wealthy travelers stayed at the other inn, the house with the sign of the sun. So we have a sun head inn and we have a devil's head inn. Okay. With the sign of the sun. Sorry, not the sun itself. The sign of the sun. That's it. Probably an equal arm cross. The poor innkeeper was very jealous of it and wished that his inn would flourish instead. One day, the poor innkeeper was in his storeroom, bemoaning his fate, when a lovely voice said, "Your riches are but an arm's reach away." Startled, the man looked around and saw a beautiful woman standing there with hair of gold, the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. Her dress clung to her body, revealing the ripeness of astonished the man. And her demeanor was worthy of a queen. "Who are you?" the man stammered. "I am the Queen of Sheba," she replied. "I have been sent to fulfill your dreams. If you will come to me at this time every day and give yourself to me, I will make you a wealthy man." The man could hardly believe what he had heard. His head began to spin, his blood became hot, and he was filled with desire for the woman who stood there, the very incarnation of lust. He did not consider how she had gotten there or how she could be the Queen of Sheba, and before he knew it, he found himself in her embrace. Afterwards, the Queen of Sheba handed him a bag filled with silver coins. And when he saw what it contained, the innkeeper was overjoyed, for now he would be able to pay all his debts and live as a wealthy man at last. It's very interesting. The next day, at the same time, the man came back to his storeroom, to which he alone had the key. There he found the Queen of Sheba bathing in a golden basin. When he entered, she stepped out of the bath. Naked, he was at once again overwhelmed by her beauty. As soon as she was dry to lay down on the bed, the man did not ask himself where the basin and bed had come from, but gave himself up to the delight she offered. And it was mid afternoon before he emerged bearing another bag of silver coins. That day, the man hurried off to purchase a beautiful dress and a golden ring for his wife to wear on the Sabbath. His wife was astonished by these gifts, but she did not ask to know where their wealth had come from. Instead, she celebrated with her husband, relieved that a little good fortune had come their way at last. All that night the innkeeper dreamed he was back in the arms of the Queen of Sheba, and his body trembled with sensual delight. In the morning he could barely wait for the time to go into the storeroom. At last he did, and there he found his mistress waiting for him as before. In a storeroom, y'all. Thank you, Kipper. think he kept her in the storeroom. They embraced as lovers, and afterward, as the man lay back exhausted, the Queen of Sheba said, "By now you know how much abundance I have to offer you. Stay with me, and you will be a wealthy man. But if you speak about me to anyone at all, it will be on penalty of death." Wow. The man was startled to learn this, but he insisted he would never tell anyone, for his wife would surely demand a divorce, his children would never forgive him, and no one would frequent his inn. So she said no more about it and gave him another bag of silver coins from a store that he guessed must be inexhaustible. In the days that followed, the way of life of the innkeeper and his wife was completely transformed, as was the inn itself, which he had remodeled until it became far more luxurious than the house with the sign of the sun. The wife of the innkeeper purchased an entirely new wardrobe, and it became her custom to wear beautiful dresses, not only on the Sabbath and holidays, but on every day of the week. They acquired many servants to maintain the inn, and the innkeeper found that all of his tasks were taken care of by someone else. The only problem was that his wife began to wonder where the riches came from, but the innkeeper refused to discuss it, much to her frustration. And in the days of luxury that followed, she had very little to do but to muse about this matter and harp on it every chance she got. Meanwhile, the man returned to the storeroom every day to do the bidding of the Queen of Sheba, and she in turn saw to it that his riches continued to grow. By this time, the man had become a slave to the desires of the Queen of Sheba. He served her in any way that she saw fit, for by then his dependence on her was complete. Because the innkeeper refused to divulge the secret of their wealth, his wife began to spy on him to see what she could discover by herself. Before long, she noticed that he disappeared late in the morning and was not seen again until the middle of the afternoon. Soon she found out that he was in the storeroom during that time, and she wondered what he was doing in there. One day, she casually asked him about it, and he replied that he had gotten into a habit of napping on sacks of grain. This reply did not satisfy the wife. However, early one morning she took the storeroom key and had a copy made for herself. Then she returned her husband's key undetected one afternoon. When her curiosity could not be restrained any longer, she quietly opened the door to the storeroom while he was in it. So it was that she saw her husband asleep in the arms of the Queen of Sheba. Overcome by the sight, she quietly shut the door so that no one would know she had been there. But the Queen of Sheba observed all that had taken place, and she awoke the man and said, "You must have told your wife our secret, and now you must die." The man pleaded with her, saying that he had never told anyone, especially not his wife. But the Queen of Sheba said that his wife had just opened the door and seen them together. Then the man was terrified to learn this and saw that his luck had run out. But he so begged for his life that at the last she agreed to spare him. "But you will never see me again," she said, "for I will never come back to you. So too will your wealth disappear. I am taking back everything, and I intend to strangle the two children that I have had with you." Hold on, where was that in the story? That's like a Medea story. What? Mm-mm-mm. You did not even know about them, did you? I will wring their necks. In 3 days' time, go to the bridge over the Rhine River, and there you will see a coffin floating on the water, and inside will lie the children you fathered with me. And then all at once the Queen of Sheba disappeared, and the golden basin in which she bathed disappeared as well, as did the bed they had been sleeping on, and the bag of coins she had brought to give him. It was then that he realized that she must have been a demoness, maybe even Lilith herself. The innkeeper staggered out of the storeroom and ran to the place where he had hidden all the silver coins he had received from her. He found the bags there, but when he reached inside, he found the coins had all dissolved into foul water, which soiled his hands. From there, he rushed to his wife's closet, where he found that all of her new dresses had vanished, along with everything else they had bought with those coins. So too, all of the repairs done on the inn had vanished, for they had been an illusion to start with, and the servants merely cohorts of the Queen of Sheba, and the man and his wife were just as poor as they had been before he had met the Queen of Sheba. But it was much more terrible this time. Okay, so that was from the 16th century Germany. And we're going into the brides of demons too. Okay. So I'm read out, y'all. I'm completely read out for right now. Um these these stories are very, very interesting. I've never heard of them before. Have you all? Never dove into Jewish folklore, that's for sure. And it's very interesting to me how they keep the evil doing centered on women. That's very interesting. It's very interesting to me. Anyway, so we might pick up another day. Like I said, we're supposed to go check out a place today. Hopefully. Hopefully. And if that's the case, then we're going to be moving and a lot of stuff's going to be up in the air. So I don't know when I'll be able to get back on, but I do want to get back to this as soon as possible, as well as, what am I work? I'm thinking about working on a another long form video that's going to include the hammer gods, like tracing those guys back, all of them, connecting them all and tracing them back. So I'm thinking about doing that. Um, as like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it live where I have visuals to put up or I have a long form video. I'm thinking maybe a long form video. Pretty sure. Lee, it's great that you're hanging with me. Yes. Good to see you. Good to see you for sure. And yeah, like I said, this book was actually suggested on an Oprah from the 80s when Oprah interviewed this girl that had been a ritual abuse survivor. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go look at it. All right. Thank you all for hanging with me. Have a great, great morning. Happy Valentine's Day. Love yourself. Love those around you. Forgive those who have hurt you. And believe in yourself. Get to know yourself. And the rest just falls in the line. All right. Have a great day.